This just in, the IRS apparently just topped itself. Remember how the White House was saying the whole harassing of conservative groups just stopped? Well, new proof agents were hounding him as recently as this month. The guy behind a new lawsuit spells it all out tonight. Attorney Jay Sekulow, my special guest at 8 p.m. on the Fox Business Network. But ahead of that, Kevin Kookogey right now. Kevin is the founder of Linchpins of Liberty, the same group that got a letter from the IRS dated May 6th, and that is May 6th of this year. What the heck, Kevin? Spell it out.
Well, first of all, I think we need to put it in context, Neil. Thank you for having me, by the way. I received 3 letters now from the IRS of any substance. And the third letter actually it was mailed May 6th, but it actually came to the ACLJ on my behalf on May 14th. So right in the midst of all of this,
Lord.
The IRS sends yet another letter, which, as you know, contradicts the testimony of Steve Miller and others at the first congressional hearing about 10 days ago.
All right, so let's assume they were ignorant of that. It's hardly a blessing here, but it's going to be an excuse, I'm sure. The letter itself gets kind of involved. I think we have a portion of it here that we can show where they say they thank you for the information recently submitted regarding your application for exemption. Going on here to say, unfortunately, we need more information before we can complete our consideration of your application. And then they go detailing a lot more stuff, like what?
Yeah, well, again, I think we need to put it in context because my organization, different than a lot of the other organizations that have been targeted by the IRS, I'm a C3 applicant. We are an educational institution. In our prior letter from the IRS, they had actually asked us to identify those we were teaching, some of whom are minors, by the way, and you can imagine what that would be like for parents if I were to turn their names over to the IRS. Well, if that were not enough, Neil, then in this third letter, the IRS actually asked us now to give them the location of where we are teaching these students.
All right, so the names of minors and the location of where they're being taught. Two red herring, to put it mildly. Now, I'm trying to give the IRS the benefit of the doubt here, saying how the heck this could happen by saying, well, you're different than a lot of these other conservative groups in that you are more of an educational, informational group. And so that's why you were not included in this roundup of more politically oriented groups. Again, a stretch for me, grant you, but again, not getting the IRS on to talk about this, it's the best I can come up with. What do you make of that?
Well, I actually think we were targeted because we share the same ideas as all of those organizations. No, we do not have the name Tea Party. We do not have the name Patriot. We are not a C4.
You have Liberty. Liberty is another one, a code word.
That's exactly right. We have liberty, and we reject the expansion of the government beyond its legitimate authority. We jealously guard human liberty, and I think it's those ideas that have clearly been at stake here in what the IRS is targeting.
Do you think this is still going on, Kevin, that unbeknownst to Peter, Paul is doing this? You know what I mean? That even with this latest dust-up and brouhaha, the IRS is willy-nilly going about its harassing ways.
It's hard for me to imagine that the IRS institutionally could not have sent out a letter. I certainly would, if I were in the IRS, send out a letter saying there should be no more targeting. The fact that this would go on after the fact, it's just general knowledge in the news, is stunning.
Well, obviously there was no cease and desist order given. If there were, it was ignored. So it then begs the next issue. This is the same organization over which we're going to place 49 different financial details of the healthcare law, when they're not even checking with each other how to implement a strategy for going after tax-exempt groups or groups that want tax exemption. It does not instill much faith.
No, in fact, Neil, when you talked about does it still go on, I'm getting letters every day from organizations that are not just C3 or C4. I've got a C6 medical organization that told me that they were recently targeted and they gave up the whole process. So I think we're learning every day about how broad and expansive has been this abuse of power by the government.
Where do you stand in this process, by the way?
We have filed a suit today. The ACLJ has filed it on our behalf. We're going to testify before Congress next week, and we're going to take it one day at a time to pursue the truth.
Man, oh man. Kevin, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Hard to believe, right?